Hello, Matt Davis here with more quiz help. This one is from the review quiz for Chapter 6. The lap speed y in seconds for a particular car at a local racetrack is a normally distributed random variable with mu equal to 58.73 and sigma equal to 2.9803. Find p of 85 and round your answer to 3 decimal places. So the first thing we're going to do is change this P85 to P65 in the interest of giving help rather than answers. So instead of finding the 85th percentile, we're going to find the 65th percentile, but it's the same idea. So we'll start off with the normal curve, put the mean in the middle. The mean of this random variable is 58.73. And then we want P of 65 or the 65th percentile. And that number as a subscript always tells us the amount of area that is to the left of our values. So we have 65% of the area to our left. That means there's 35% of the area to the right. And if you have that 65-35 split with a majority to your left, the only way that can work is if your cutoff is somewhere on the right-hand side. So we'll label this P65, and that's what we're trying to find. So the amount of area in here is going to be that 65%. So this is 0.65, and that means the other side is 0.35. So you technically are only going to need the area to the left, but I always like to put the area to the left and the right to make sure I have the large area on the large portion and the small area on the small portion. If that doesn't work out that way, it usually means that you drew your line on the wrong side, that it should have been on the left instead of the right, or vice versa. But ours looks good. Big area, big number, small area, small number. So now we want to start working on finding P65, and the first step in that is to find the z-score that goes with it. So to find the z, when you know the area already, you used the inverse normal distribution. So inverse normal. And for inverse normal, you always put the area on the left side, so 0.65. And then we will go to the calculator, get that z-score, round it to 3 decimal places. So let's switch over and take care of that. So second distribution, inverse normal, and enter the area to the left, which is 0.65, and we get our z-score. So the z-score we need is 0.385. Remember, always round your z-scores to exactly 3 decimal places. So taking that back over here, we have 0.385. So that's not P65, but that is the z-score for P65. So P65 is an x value. So we'll start working on that now. To get an x value, I guess in this case, technically it is a y value, since that's the variable we're working with this time. So the y value will be our P65, and that will be mu of y plus the z-score times sigma y. So mu sub y is 58.73. We just found the z-score, it's 0.385. And we'll multiply that times the standard deviation, which is 2.9803. And then we take that over to the calculator and we enter that in, and we'll have our y value, which in this case is also the 65th percentile. So let's go take a quick look at that. So 58.73 plus 0.385 times our standard deviation, 2.9803. So we get 59.8774155. The directions on this problem say to round this to 3 decimal places, so we'll go with 59.877. And the units on this would be seconds, but in this case, I would say the units are most important when you go to interpret the percentile. So we could go ahead and write on here that it's seconds, and I would usually do that, but when you enter it in active learning, you can't mix numbers and words when they're asking for a number. So in active learning, we'll just give this value right here rounded to 3 decimal places. All right, so there's the main work. Just a little bit of thought about what might have gone wrong or what some of the common mistakes are. One of them is making sure that that 65% or 0.65 area is drawn to the left side. So if you mix that up, that's going to change things quite a bit. Make sure you're using inverse normal because you're starting off with area and then you're trying to find a boundary. And when you do inverse normal, you do need to make sure that the area that you put matches up with, sorry, not sure why that did that. You need to make sure this area right here matches up with the area on the left. So it's always inverse normal area to the left, not area to the right. And sometimes I think people switch that up too. And then kind of a crucial piece, we always say round your z-score to exactly 3 decimal places. And I did do that here. So there's my exactly 3 decimal places. But that's also 3 significant figures. And if you put more or less, that is going to change your x value here and probably cause a wrong answer. So even though rounding error is minor, in this case, that rounding error will affect your answer and will probably cause it to be wrong. So make sure you're definitely following that rounding rule there. All right, I hope somewhere in there you saw some help for whatever caused you to get this wrong in the first place. Good luck to you as you return back to the quiz.